When the world loses control, the disciplined remain calm. Pressure is the great revealer. It exposes who you are when there's nowhere to hide. Most people collapse. They react. They panic. But not you. Not anymore. This audiobook is about mastering yourself when everything else breaks down. It's about emotional command, mental precision, and the rare power of stillness in chaos. The calm man is not weak. He's the most dangerous person in the room, because while everyone else burns energy, he observes, decides, and conquers. This is the discipline of staying calm under pressure. Let's begin. Pressure doesn't create weakness. It exposes it. That is the first truth you must accept if you want to build real emotional control. Pressure is not an enemy, not an obstacle, not a force designed to destroy you. It is a mirror. It reflects the truth about who you are, what you've trained, and how much of your calm is real versus how much of it is just an act. When life turns up the heat, you don't become a different person, you simply get revealed. When everything is calm, anyone can appear confident. Anyone can speak about discipline when the stakes are low. Anyone can sound wise when the world is silent. But when pressure shows up, when deadlines close in, when people turn against you, when your body starts to shake and your heart races, the mask comes off. You see your real self, stripped of comfort, stripped of control. That's the truth that pressure reveals, and that's why pressure is sacred. It's not meant to break you. It's meant to show you what's still untrained. Most people avoid that kind of truth. They fear pressure because it's honest. It doesn't flatter. It doesn't care about your feelings or your excuses. Pressure doesn't care who you think you are. It only cares about who you've become. You can't lie under pressure. You can't pretend under pressure. That's why so many people collapse when it comes, because they've been living too long in illusion. They've been practicing comfort instead of composure. They've been building identities instead of inner strength. You have to understand something. Pressure doesn't create character. It only reveals it. You don't magically become calm, disciplined, or in control when life gets hard. You either built those qualities long before the moment came, or you didn't. That's why emotional discipline must be trained every single day, not when it's convenient, not when things are easy, but when you least feel liked. It's under pressure. You don't rise to your level of ambition. You fall to your level of training. That's the key. Think about the athlete who chokes in the final second. He didn't become weak in that moment. He met the truth of his preparation. Think about the soldier who panics under fire. It's not bad luck, it's lack of inner conditioning, or the executive who loses control in a crisis. The issue isn't the situation, it's the habit of emotional indulgence that's been practiced for years. Pressure simply turns up the volume on what's already inside. That's all it does. It magnifies truth. You have a choice. You can run from pressure and stay fragile, or you can face it and become unshakable. That's the discipline. You don't need anyone's permission to train your mind to be still when everything around you is chaos. You don't need validation to stop reacting. You simply decide. That's where calm begins, with the decision to stop being owned by emotion and start mastering it. Pressure is the ultimate test of awareness. It forces you to pay attention to your thoughts, to your breathing, to your reactions. In those moments when your body tightens and your mind races, you have a decision to make. Will you let the situation dictate your internal state, or will you impose order on yourself first? That single decision defines mental toughness. Calm is not a feeling. Calm is command. Consider the sniper in combat. He's surrounded by chaos, explosions, shouting, destruction, yet inside, stillness. How? Because he has trained his nervous system to obey his discipline. He knows that panic serves no purpose. He knows that emotion clouds precision. He knows that composure is survival. The same rule applies to you. The situation might be different, but the law is the same. Control yourself first, or you will be controlled by everything around you. That's why pressure is your greatest ally. It gives you immediate feedback. It shows you exactly where your weakness hides. If you get angry easily under stress, that's the area you must train. If you get anxious when things are uncertain, that's the area you must master. Pressure is not punishment. It's instruction. Every uncomfortable moment is a lesson in disguise. If you treat pressure like a teacher instead of an enemy, you will grow faster than anyone else. The problem is that most people don't want that kind of honesty. They'd rather hide behind comfort. They want progress without exposure. But that's not how growth works. You can't develop emotional control in peace. You develop it in chaos. You can't claim mental strength when everything goes your way. You earn it when nothing does. Pressure is the environment where discipline proves itself. Without it, all your talk about calm, patience, and control means nothing. So when you feel pressure building, when your hands shake, your chest tightens, or your thoughts scatter, don't run. Don't distract yourself. Don't drown it with comfort. Instead, observe. Slow everything down. Take a breath. Look at what your body is telling you. That tension is not the enemy. It's the signal that you are standing in front of an opportunity to grow. This is the training ground for emotional mastery. The moment you resist reacting is the moment you reclaim control. You must reframe pressure in your mind. Stop seeing it as danger. Start seeing it as proof. Every time life tests you, it's giving you a mirror. It's saying, here, this is where you stand. And every time you meet that mirror with calm, you reinforce your inner strength. You train the muscle of control. You condition your mind to see challenge not as chaos, but as clarity. Because when everything is loud, your silence becomes power. Pressure doesn't change you. It shows you. It shows you how prepared you are. It shows you whether your self-control is genuine or just talk. It shows you what still needs work. It's not there to humiliate you. It's there to refine you. That's what the disciplined understand. They don't fear pressure. They welcome it because they know it's the only environment where strength can be proven. If you can learn to stay calm under pressure, you can lead when others crumble. You can decide when others react. You can think when others panic. That is how real power is built, not through control of the world, but through control of the self. Calm under pressure is not the absence of emotion. It's the presence of dominance over it. So from this moment forward, stop running from hard moments. Stop calling pressure unfair. Stop labeling stress as the enemy. Instead, treat every challenge as a mirror that shows you the truth of your discipline. Every test is a message, every struggle is a signal, and every time you choose composure, you win, even if no one sees it. Pressure doesn't care about your comfort. It only responds to your preparation. You either trained for this moment or you didn't. And if you didn't, that's not failure. That's feedback. Go back, build again, strengthen again, condition your mind again. Then when the next wave of pressure hits, you won't flinch. You'll breathe, you'll observe, you'll act, because that's what calm really is. Action without panic, control without noise, direction without emotion. And when you master that, life stops being something that happens to you. It becomes something you command. You have now faced the mirror of pressure and seen the truth it reveals. You understand that pressure is not your enemy but your greatest teacher. You've learned that calm isn't luck, it's discipline, and discipline once earned cannot be shaken by chaos. You've faced the test of truth. Now, let's go deeper into the source of it all, your emotions. Because if pressure reveals who you are, emotion decides who you become. You have seen your reflection. Now, it's time to take control of the signal that shapes it. You cannot control the world, but you can always control your reaction to it. That's the foundation of calm. That's the beginning of power. Emotion is not something that just happens to you. It's something you participate in. It's a choice. Every emotion you feed grows stronger. Every emotion you ignore loses influence. The undisciplined mind reacts to every feeling like it's a command. The disciplined mind observes, interprets, and decides. That's the difference between chaos and control. You've been told emotions are natural. That's true. But natural doesn't mean automatic. Breathing is natural, yet you can still control your breath. Thoughts are natural, yet you can still choose which ones to follow. The same applies to emotion. You can feel anger and still remain silent. You can feel fear and still move forward. You can feel pain and still stay composed. The emotion is real, but your reaction is optional. That's the key. Most people don't understand this. They believe emotion equals truth. They think, if I feel it, it must be real. That's the biggest lie emotion tells. Feelings are not facts. They are impulses, biological alarms that signal what your mind perceives as threat, loss, or desire. They are indicators, not instructions. You are not required to obey them. The disciplined person uses emotion as information, not identity. The weak man reacts. The strong man decides. When anger hits, he doesn't explode. When fear rises, he doesn't freeze. When doubt whispers, he doesn't stop. He steps back. He breathes. He observes. He asks, what is this emotion trying to make me do? And does that action serve my mission or sabotage it? That's awareness. That's emotional intelligence. That's control. Let's be clear. Control doesn't mean suppression. Suppression is weakness disguised as strength. When you suppress, you bury emotions alive. They don't disappear. They grow underground, waiting to erupt. Control means recognition without obedience. You acknowledge the emotion, but you refuse to become it. You see it rise, you feel it pass, and you choose your response. You are the authority. The emotion is not. The truth is, emotion is energy. You can waste it, or you can weaponize it. Anger can destroy your relationships, or it can fuel your discipline in the gym. Fear can paralyze your ambition, or it can sharpen your awareness. Sadness can drown you in self-pity, or it can remind you of your values. The emotion itself isn't good or bad. What you do with it determines its quality. The undisciplined mind burns energy through reaction. The disciplined mind channels energy through direction. That's why self-awareness is everything. When you can name an emotion, you neutralize its control. When you can say, this is anger, this is fear, this is envy, you create separation between you and it, and in that gap lies your freedom. You are not your anger, you are not your fear, you are the observer, the commander behind the emotion. That's what calm truly means. It's not silence of feeling, it's mastery of movement. Look at history. The greatest warriors, leaders, and thinkers all shared one trait: emotional discipline. The samurai trained not just for physical battle, but for internal balance. They practiced calm breathing under duress. They practiced non-reaction to insult, because they knew that the warrior who reacts emotionally becomes predictable, and predictability leads to death. The same principle applies in modern life. If people can control your emotions, they can control your behavior. In business, in relationships, in life, the calm man always holds the upper hand. While others shout, he listens. While others rush, he waits. While others react, he plans. His power comes from restraint, and restraint comes from awareness that emotion is a tool, not a master. The calm man never gives anyone the power to make him lose control, because he knows the moment he reacts, he's no longer leading the situation, he's following it. You have to train this every day. Don't wait for high-stakes moments to practice emotional control. Practice in the small things. When someone cuts you off in traffic, don't react. When someone disrespects you, pause. When something doesn't go your way, breathe. Each time you control your emotion, you build mental muscle. Each time you react, you surrender power. Every moment is a chance to practice dominance over self. Here's the hard part. Your mind will fight you. It wants to react. It's addicted to drama. It loves the rush of emotional release because it feels powerful, even when it's destructive. You must train it like an animal. When you feel the surge of emotion, turn. Don't resist. Redirect. Tell yourself, I control this. I decide how I feel. I decide how I act. Repeat it until it becomes automatic. Calm is not natural. It's conditioned through repetition. Every time you choose not to react, you are building something invisible inside you. A quiet strength, a silent confidence, a calm authority that doesn't need to shout to be heard. The more you practice restraint, the stronger it becomes. Eventually, emotional control becomes your default. You stop getting pulled into arguments. You stop being manipulated. You stop chasing emotional highs and lows. You start operating from a place of steady power. It's not about never feeling. It's about never being ruled by what you feel. It's about developing a mental filter that separates signal from noise. Emotions will come and go, but your mission remains. That's the difference between ordinary and elite. Ordinary people wait to feel ready. The elite act from principle, not emotion. They move forward regardless of how they feel, because they understand. Emotion follows action, not the other way around. You don't need to eliminate emotion, you need to govern it. The calm leader feels everything, but reveals nothing. The disciplined man experiences anger, sadness, fear, but he doesn't leak it into his decisions. He channels it. He holds it until it serves his goal. That's emotional power. The ability to convert volatility into velocity, to turn inner chaos into external precision. When you begin to master emotion, your entire world changes. You stop chasing validation. You stop fearing loss. You stop reacting to noise. You start thinking long-term. You start creating from clarity instead of reacting from confusion. You start to notice that the calmer you become, the more control you have, because emotion is noise and calm is signal. So remember this, emotion is not the problem. Lack of control is. Feeling something doesn't make you weak. Obeying it without question does. Strength isn't about shutting emotion off. It's about keeping it in check. You have a choice every single moment. Obey your impulses or command them. React or respond. Lose control or lead yourself. That's where calm begins. That's where discipline lives. Every emotion you control becomes strength stored. Every reaction you master becomes energy reclaimed. The disciplined man doesn't waste emotion. He directs it. He turns pain into purpose, fear into focus, frustration into fuel, and over time he becomes unshakable. Not because life got easier, but because his emotions no longer own him. You've learned to see pressure as a mirror. Now you've learned that emotion is the reflection inside it. But there's another layer. Your reaction, your instinct, your reflex. The next step in your evolution is learning to command that first moment of impact, the split second where emotion tries to take control. Because in that instant, you either choose composure or chaos. You've learned that emotion is a choice. Now it's time to master that first reaction, the battlefield where most people lose their control before they even realize it. You've trained your mind to see, now you'll train it to act. The first reaction is the most expensive one you'll ever have. It costs you peace, it costs you power, and it costs you control. Every downfall, personal, professional, emotional, begins with one unguarded reaction. Someone says something you don't like and you snap. A situation doesn't go your way and you panic. A plan fails and you lose your temper. That split second when emotion takes over is where composure dies. And if you don't learn to control it, life will keep using that weakness against you. You must train yourself to master that first impulse, the first burst of anger, the first spark of frustration, the first wave of fear. Because in that small window, everything about your future can change. It's not the event that defines you, it's your reaction to it. You cannot control the world, but you can control your response to it. That's the only control that truly matters. The disciplined mind doesn't react, it recalibrates. Let me be clear. Controlling your first reaction doesn't mean being numb or emotionless. It means being deliberate. It means refusing to give power to chaos. It means choosing clarity over impulse, reason over noise. Most people don't do this. They live in reaction mode. Someone provokes them and they bite. Something goes wrong and they spiral. They think reacting fast is strength. It's not. It's desperation. Real strength is measured by how long you can hold silence before responding. When pressure hits, your body wants to explode. Your heart rate spikes. Your breathing shortens. Your vision narrows. This is the body's primitive design. Fight, flight, or freeze. But your body doesn't understand modern life. It doesn't know the difference between a tiger in the jungle and an angry email from your boss. That's why you have to train your mind to override instinct. You have to teach your body that the first reaction is not always the right one. That's where the pause comes in, the sacred moment between stimulus and response. It's only a few seconds long, but it's the birthplace of composure. In those few seconds, everything changes. The undisciplined man reacts. The disciplined man breathes. He waits. He observes. He lets the first wave of emotion pass. Then he acts, not from panic, but from principle. That's what makes him powerful. You can train this. You must train this. Every time you feel that surge of emotion, your job is to pause, breathe, count 3 seconds. That's the gap between reaction and control. That's your battlefield. Most people will never win it because they never slow down enough to see it. But if you can master that pause, you'll start winning battles no one else even sees. This principle applies everywhere. Someone insults you, pause. Don't defend yourself instantly. Let their words hang in the air. Their energy will fade while yours remains intact. Something fails at work. Pause. Don't rush to fix it out of panic. Evaluate it with a clear head. A relationship argument begins. Pause. Don't raise your voice. Don't try to win. Let silence work for you. The pause isn't weakness. It's the ultimate display of inner command. Because here's what happens when you react instantly. You surrender the steering wheel. You hand your emotions to the world and say, "Here, drive me wherever you want." And the world will, right into conflict, regret, and distraction. But when you pause, you reclaim that wheel. You tell life, "I decide where this goes." That's what control feels like. It's not dramatic. It's quiet, still, measured. It's power without noise. Think about elite performers. A Formula One driver moving at 200 miles per hour doesn't react. He responds. Every motion is deliberate. A surgeon during a crisis doesn't panic. He slows down. Precision beats speed. Calm beats chaos. The best under pressure don't rush. They breathe. They think. They act when it matters, not when it feels urgent. That's the mindset you must develop. You can start practicing this today. When someone frustrates you, don't argue. Study your reaction. Notice the tightening in your chest, the heat in your face, the words forming in your head. That's the signal. That's the moment you must intercept. Replace the habit of reacting with the discipline of observing. Ask yourself, does this deserve my energy? Most of the time it doesn't. Save your fire for something that builds you. That's how you stay powerful. You must remember this truth. Your first reaction is rarely your best one. It's emotional, it's impulsive, it's raw. It wants relief, not resolution. The goal is not to feel better. The goal is to make better decisions. Every time you delay reaction, you weaken emotion's grip. Over time, the pause becomes natural. You start living slower, thinking deeper, acting sharper. Your world becomes less chaotic because you become less chaotic. People will test this. They'll push your buttons on purpose just to get a reaction, because reaction gives them control. Don't give it to them. Don't mirror their energy. Stay calm, stay grounded, stay unreadable. The more they push, the quieter you become. That silence will frustrate them, confuse them, even intimidate them, because they'll realize they can't move you. That's psychological dominance, not through aggression, but through restraint. Remember, emotional control doesn't mean apathy. It means strategy. You choose when and how to express. You channel emotion through timing, not impulse. You don't waste it on noise. You use it to shape outcomes. The man who reacts destroys opportunities. The man who responds creates them. That's the difference between surviving and leading. There's power in slow response. There's wisdom in delayed action. The world glorifies instant reaction. Social media, politics, business. Everyone wants the first word. But the first word is rarely the strongest. The one who waits, observes, and delivers with precision always wins, because the calm mind always sees more. When you slow down, you gain clarity. When you gain clarity, you gain control. Make this a mantra. Pause, breathe, choose. Say it until it becomes automatic. When tension rises, pause. When anger hits, breathe. When confusion clouds your thoughts, choose. Not what feels good, but what builds strength. Over time, you'll realize that most of what used to upset you doesn't even deserve a response. That's when you know you've grown. Mastering your first reaction doesn't just protect your peace, it multiplies your power. It allows you to navigate chaos without being consumed by it. It earns you respect because people trust those who stay composed under fire. It makes you dangerous in the best way. Unpredictable, unshakable, untouchable. That's the standard. That's the evil you must train for. So from this day forward, you will not be owned by your first reaction. You will not let emotion dictate your decisions. You will not let the world pull your strings. You are in command. Every situation is a test, and your response is the grade. Pressure doesn't break you, it reveals you. Emotion doesn't control you, it obeys you. And your reaction doesn't define you. Your discipline does. You've learned how to hold the pause, how to break the cycle of impulse, how to stay composed when the heat rises. But there's another challenge waiting, the energy of others. Because sometimes it's not your emotions that threaten your calm. It's theirs. People will project their chaos onto you, hoping you'll mirror it. They'll want you reactive, emotional, loud, and unbalanced because that's how they feel inside. Your next evolution is learning how to resist that pull completely. You've mastered your first reaction. Now it's time to face the external challenge, the emotional storms created by others. You must learn the art of remaining still when everyone else around you is spinning out of control. When you mirror weakness, you absorb it. When you absorb it, you lose control. The moment you let someone else's chaos dictate your state, you've surrendered your power. The world is full of people running on emotion, anxious, loud, reactive, easily provoked. They're addicted to drama, and they survive by pulling others into their frequency. You must refuse the invitation. You must become immune to it. Because every time you mirror weakness, you dilute strength. Every time you react to noise, you give energy to disorder. Emotional contagion is real. The energy of other people can hijack your composure if you're not conscious. You've felt it. You walk into a tense room and your chest tightens. You talk to someone angry and your pulse speeds up. This isn't coincidence, it's biology. Humans are wired to mirror emotion for social survival, but what protects the herd destroys the individual. The disciplined mind must unlearn this reflex. You're not here to match the energy of the room, you're here to set it. Weak people mirror the world. Strong people define it. The man who mirrors anger becomes angry. The man who mirrors fear becomes afraid. The man who mirrors insecurity becomes uncertain. But the man who stays calm, who keeps his composure while everyone else falls apart, becomes the anchor. That's why calm is power. It stabilizes chaos. It commands respect. It creates gravity. The world bends toward those who cannot be emotionally moved. This is why emotional discipline isn't just a mindset. It's a weapon. In any negotiation, argument, or confrontation, the one who stays calm wins. Why? Because emotion clouds logic. The moment you lose composure, you start defending instead of deciding. You start proving instead of observing. You start reacting instead of leading. The calm man never mirrors weakness because he understands. Emotional stillness is strategic dominance. When someone raises their voice, don't raise yours. Lower it. When someone rushes you, slow down. When someone attacks you, stay silent. Your restraint will unnerve them. It will expose their lack of control. Weakness hates silence because silence reveals it. Let them reveal themselves. Don't meet fire with fire. Meet it with water. That's how you stay in command. That's how you win without saying a word. This takes training. You must desensitize yourself to emotional bait. The world will constantly try to pull you into emotional reaction through insults, opinions, manipulation, or guilt. Don't take the bait. Every reaction is a transaction. You're trading energy for nothing. Before you react, ask yourself, is this worth my power? 90% of the time, it isn't. And the moment you recognize that, you stop bleeding energy into nonsense. You become untouchable. Remember this, the emotionally reactive man is predictable. Predictability is weakness. When people know how to provoke you, they own you. They can pull you into anger, fear, defensiveness, or guilt on command. The calm man is unreadable. He's still. He's composed. He gives no cues, no tells, no leaks. That's why the calm man wins. The less you reveal, the more others reveal themselves. The less you react, the more others expose their lack of discipline. You have to learn to hold still under emotional attack. When people get loud, they want control. When people get dramatic, they want attention. Don't give them either. The minute you react, you validate their weakness. Stay still. Let their emotion echo into emptiness. They'll tire themselves out while you conserve energy, and when they're exhausted, you'll still be standing. Calm, sharp, aware. That's control. It's not easy. Your ego will demand retaliation. It will whisper, defend yourself, prove your point, match their energy. Don't. That's a trap. That's how strong men become weak, by fighting meaningless battles to satisfy fragile pride. Real strength is restraint. Real confidence doesn't need to prove itself. The more secure you are within, the less you react without. Every time you resist the urge to mirror weakness, your internal power compounds. There's a truth you need to accept. Not everyone deserves your energy. Some people exist purely to drain it. Their chaos feeds on your attention. The only way to defeat them is to starve them. Indifference is the ultimate revenge, not anger, not insult, indifference. When you show no emotional response, they lose their control over you completely. Because chaos cannot survive in calm, it suffocates in silence. Look at history's most powerful figures. Generals, negotiators, philosophers. Their control under pressure wasn't accidental, they cultivated it. They understood that reacting emotionally is easy, but influence requires composure. Julius Caesar once said, "It's easier to find men who will volunteer to die than to find those who will endure pain with patience." He was right. The ability to remain calm in provocation is rarer than bravery. It's the mark of command. Let's bring this down to your level, your everyday life. When someone argues with you, don't try to win the argument. Win your composure. When the day falls apart, don't panic. Control your breathing. When people disrespect you, don't react with emotion. React with strategy. Remember, every emotional battle is a trap disguised as justice. Don't waste your discipline proving your worth to people who thrive on weakness. Your energy is currency. Spend it only where it multiplies your power. Mirroring weakness can also happen internally. Sometimes it's not other people's emotions that drag you down, it's your own. You replay failure, you internalize rejection, you relive frustration, and without realizing it, you start to mirror your own weakness. You treat every setback as proof that something is wrong with you. Stop that. That's self-sabotage disguised as reflection. You are not your feelings, you are the commander behind them. When weakness rises, observe it, don't become it. Here's the mantra. Their chaos is not my cue. Repeat it, live it, apply it. Because if you don't, you'll spend your life reacting to people who aren't even in control of themselves. The world doesn't need more emotional mirrors, it needs more emotional leaders. And leadership begins with refusing to be pulled into other people's storms. When you stop mirroring weakness, you start setting the tone. Your calm becomes contagious. Your presence starts changing the room. People begin to adjust to your frequency. That's when you know you've crossed the line between reaction and mastery. You've stopped chasing peace and you've started embodying it. Never mirror weakness. Never match chaos. Never surrender your calm. Because the moment you do, you become just another emotionally reactive soul in a world already drowning in noise. Your silence, your restraint, your composure, these are your armor. Protect them at all costs. You've now learned to protect your energy from the chaos of others. You've learned to hold still while everyone else loses themselves. But the next evolution is deeper. To stay calm under pressure, you can't just resist outside noise. You must also detach from outcome. You must learn to stay steady not only when others attack, but when life itself disappoints. That's where true inner peace begins. You've mastered not mirroring weakness. Now it's time to master separation from outcome. The mental freedom that makes you untouchable. Detachment is not indifference. It's not coldness. It's not apathy. Detachment is control. It's the ability to stay centered while the world pulls at you from every direction. It's the quiet confidence that nothing external can move you unless you give it permission. Most people are slaves to outcomes, addicted to approval, obsessed with results, desperate for validation. They call it motivation, but it's dependency. The disciplined mind doesn't depend, it decides. Detachment means you no longer live at the mercy of what happens. You act with purpose, but you don't beg for reward. You give your best, but you don't chase applause. You care about the work, not the noise surrounding it. That's power. Because when you detach from outcome, you stop needing the world to behave a certain way before you can feel calm. You stop being reactive to everything you can't control. That's the foundation of freedom. You must understand this. Attachment creates weakness. The more you cling to a result, the more power it has over you. You say you want success, but if your peace depends on achieving it, you've already lost. You say you want love, but if your worth depends on someone's approval, you've already surrendered. Attachment breeds fear, and fear breeds control. The moment you need something too much, you start compromising your discipline to get it. Detachment, on the other hand, is strength disguised as stillness. It's doing your work with total intensity and zero desperation. It's saying, I will give everything. I have, but I will not lose myself in the process. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care correctly. You care about effort, not ego. Process, not perception. Mission, not mood. You stop chasing outcomes and start embodying standards. Think about the elite performers of any field: soldiers, athletes, entrepreneurs, artists. The best don't operate from emotional need. They operate from disciplined routine. The sniper doesn't pray for the perfect shot. He trains until perfection is ordinary. The athlete doesn't obsess over the score. He focuses on execution. The master doesn't beg for recognition. He works in silence until the world can't ignore him. That's detachment. Action without dependence. When you are attached, failure crushes you. When you are detached, failure instructs you. That's the difference. The detached man sees loss as feedback, not identity. He doesn't crumble when life denies him what he wants. He adjusts, refines, and keeps moving. Detachment gives you emotional agility. You stop breaking every time something doesn't go your way. You stop riding the emotional roller coaster of success and failure. You stay steady. This steadiness is misunderstood in our culture. We glorify obsession, we worship hustle, we praise burnout as proof of commitment, but obsession without detachment is slavery. When your work consumes your peace, it's no longer mastery, it's addiction. Detachment gives you space to breathe inside intensity. It lets you push at full force while keeping your inner world unshaken. You do the work, but you don't become the work. You give effort, but you don't give identity. It's easy to be calm when life cooperates. True discipline is remaining calm when it doesn't. Detachment is your anchor in those moments. It's the inner voice that says, "This didn't go my way, but it doesn't change who I am. It doesn't change my next move. It doesn't change my peace." That's what makes the detached man powerful. He's not cold. He's consistent. You can start practicing detachment in small ways. When you send a message, don't obsess over the reply. When you take a risk, don't worship the result. When you work on something meaningful, don't seek validation. Do it because it's who you are, not because of what you'll get. Each time you detach from outcome, you take energy back from the external world and return it to yourself. You reclaim power. Understand this. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. You can still want success, still desire connection, still pursue greatness, but you no longer need them to feel complete. You move from "I hope this works" to "I'll be fine either way." That is mental freedom. The world cannot threaten a man who is okay with every outcome. When you live detached, people will misunderstand you. They'll say you don't care, that you're emotionless, that you've changed. They're right. You have changed. You stopped being controlled. You stopped chasing approval. You stopped participating in the emotional drama of others. You stopped being pulled into the volatility of results. They mistake your calm for coldness because they've never experienced inner stability. Let them. You're not here to explain yourself. You're here to stay in command. The truth is, detachment makes you more effective, not less. When you stop worrying about results, you make better decisions. When you stop fearing loss, you take bolder action. When you stop seeking validation, you operate from authenticity. Detachment sharpens focus. It reduces emotional noise. It makes you precise. That's why calm minds win under pressure. They're not negotiating with fear or ego. They're executing. There's a simple test for detachment. Can you stay calm when things don't go your way? Can you stay steady when your plan collapses? Can you still execute when no one praises you? If you can, you're detached. If you can't, your peace is still rented, owned by outcomes and opinions that can vanish at any moment. Detachment is ownership of self. It's signing the title of your peace over to no one. The goal is not to escape emotion. The goal is to control attachment. You will still feel disappointment, you will still feel frustration, but you will not be owned by them. You will observe them and choose your response. That's what detachment gives you. Options. Emotional freedom. Clarity. Practice this daily. Give your best. Expect nothing. Do your part. Release the rest. Discipline your focus to what you can control. Your effort. Your attitude. Your decisions. Everything else belongs to the world. Let it go. That's the hardest part of mental toughness. Learning to surrender what you can't control without losing your edge. But once you master it, you'll notice something extraordinary. Your energy stabilizes. Your mood no longer swings with results. Your focus becomes absolute. When you are detached, failure becomes feedback, not defeat. Rejection becomes redirection, not humiliation. Pressure becomes practice, not punishment. You stop trying to bend life to your will and start adapting to it with calm precision. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop fighting against uncertainty and start moving through it with confidence. That's mastery. That's composure. That's the discipline of detachment. So remember, detachment doesn't make you less human. It makes you more effective. It doesn't kill emotion. It organizes it. It doesn't remove passion. It refines it. You still play the game. You just stop letting the scoreboard control your peace. You become a man who gives everything but loses nothing in the process. That's the balance. That's the power. You've now learned to control your attachment to results. You've learned that peace doesn't come from outcomes. It comes from inner order. But there's another step to true calm under pressure. You must learn not only to detach emotionally, but to think slowly in chaos, to stretch time in your mind while the world rushes around you. That's where calm turns into command. You've mastered detachment. Now, it's time to master deliberate, strategic thought under fire. The art of slowing down when everything speeds up. The undisciplined mind rushes. The disciplined mind slows down. In moments of chaos, most people panic. They speak too fast, act too fast, decide too fast. They think speed equals control, but it doesn't. It equals confusion. When emotion rises, thinking speeds up and clarity disappears. That's why calm people appear powerful. They think in slow motion. They don't let the pressure of the moment dictate their pace. They impose their own. Slow thinking is not hesitation, it's precision. It's measured awareness under intensity. It's the ability to stretch time in your mind while everyone else collapses under it. That's the secret of calm leaders, elite performers, and true masters of discipline. They don't just stay still, they slow the entire situation down until they can see clearly. When you can think slowly under pressure, you stop reacting to life and start directing it. You've felt the opposite before. The rush, the panic, the impulse. Something happens and your body ignites. Adrenaline spikes. Your mind floods with 1,000 thoughts that don't serve you. You speak too soon, move too quickly, decide too emotionally. That's how people destroy opportunity. They act before awareness. They confuse urgency with importance. But urgency is a trap. Pressure will always whisper, "Now, hurry, react." The disciplined mind whispers back, "Wait." That's the power of slow thinking, the ability to breathe when others are gasping, to pause when others are racing, to analyze when others are collapsing. Because in that stillness, you find clarity. And clarity is power. Think of a chess grandmaster. The clock is ticking, the room is silent, and the tension is suffocating. His opponent moves fast, slamming pieces down with force. But the grandmaster sits still, watching, calculating, breathing. He's not frozen. He's gathering data. He's seeing the whole board. When he finally moves, it's deliberate, final, unstoppable. That's slow thinking, calm under time, action after understanding. Or think of a surgeon. In the operating room, alarms go off, pressure rises, lives are at stake. But the best surgeons move slower when things go wrong. Their breathing deepens, their hands steady, their focus narrows. They know panic kills precision, and precision saves lives. The same applies to you. Your life might not be a surgery, but your decisions cut deep. If you let emotion rush you, you'll make permanent mistakes in temporary chaos. Slow thinking starts with one thing: control of breath. When you breathe slowly, your heart rate follows. When your heart slows, your thoughts slow. When your thoughts slow, awareness returns. That's the chain reaction of composure. It's physiological, not mystical. The breath is the remote control of the mind. Every time you inhale deeply in pressure, you reclaim authority over chaos. You remind your body, we are not in danger, we are in control. Next comes observation. Before reacting, you must see, not just with your eyes, but with your awareness. The calm mind scans the environment like a strategist, watching tone, patterns, timing, and energy. When you slow your observation, you start noticing what everyone else misses. People's words mean less than their posture. Problems reveal themselves before they explode. Opportunities appear inside obstacles. You can't see any of this when you're rushing. You see it when you're still. The most disciplined minds live by a simple rule: Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. The impatient mind rushes and breaks things. The calm mind moves deliberately and achieves more in less time because every action is intentional. Rushing is emotional. Precision is rational. The more emotional you are, the faster you move. The more disciplined you are, the slower you think. This is the power of mental pacing. You decide the speed of your thoughts. You set the tempo of your reactions. You choose how long you'll wait before responding. Most people live at the mercy of stimulus. They're dragged through every emotional wave without control. But when you control your pace, you dominate your reality. The moment you slow your thoughts, you create space, between impulse and execution, and that space is where wisdom lives. Slow thinking doesn't mean inaction, it means intelligent timing. There's a difference between moving fast and moving early. The calm man waits for his moment. He doesn't chase it. He knows that good timing isn't luck. It's patience disguised as intuition. When you train your mind to slow down, you start sensing patterns, anticipating outcomes, and choosing responses that others can't even see yet. Slow thinking is how you become unpredictable. When people can't read your tempo, they can't control your rhythm. They expect you to react fast, you don't. They expect you to rush, you don't. They expect you to collapse under pressure, you don't. Instead, you move on your terms when it serves you. That's how power operates. Not in volume, not in noise, but in timing. Let's be clear, the world will try to break this discipline. Everything around you is built to accelerate your mind. Constant notifications, instant feedback, artificial urgency. The modern world rewards reaction, not reflection. But every fast mind burns out early. Every reactive life ends in regret. You must resist that current. You must protect your mental pacing like it's oxygen. You slow down not because you're lazy, but because you're lethal when calm. You can practice slow thinking anywhere. When you're faced with a problem, don't rush to fix it. Write it down, step away, return to it with fresh eyes. When you're in an argument, don't interrupt. Let silence stretch. Most people can't handle silence. They'll reveal everything in it. When you're under pressure, don't decide in emotion. Breathe, then act. The delay between impulse and action is the difference between chaos and control. Slow thinking also helps you conserve emotional energy. Every rushed reaction drains your focus. Every impulsive word costs mental currency. The calm mind moves less but achieves more. You stop fighting unnecessary battles. You stop defending trivial points. You stop running on adrenaline and start running on clarity. Energy saved becomes power stored. Here's a simple truth. Speed without control is destruction. Calm without pace is stagnation. The goal is balance. The ability to move quickly after thinking slowly. That's how you become efficient. That's how you dominate under pressure. You don't freeze. You don't rush. You process. Then you strike with precision. When others lose control, they move faster and see less. You, on the other hand, will move slower and see more. And the one who sees more always wins. That's the law. That's the advantage of calm. The slow thinker becomes the strategist while everyone turns. He else becomes noise. So remember this mantra. Slow down. See everything. Decide once. Repeat it until it becomes second nature. Because when you can slow your thinking under pressure, nothing can rush you. No situation can overwhelm you. No person can manipulate you. The world moves fast, but your mind moves with purpose. That's dominance, that's composure, that's freedom. You've learned to slow your thinking in chaos, to stretch time, to breathe, to command clarity. You've learned that calm isn't about speed, it's about precision. But the next step of emotional discipline isn't just about thought. It's about the body itself. Because the body is the first battlefield. The mind may command, but if the body disobeys, composure collapses. The next chapter is where we bring the body under full control. You've mastered slow thinking. Now it's time to master physical command, the foundation of all inner stability. Your body is not separate from your mind. It's the instrument your mind plays through. Every thought, every emotion, every reaction shows up in the body first. When you lose control of your body, you lose control of your mind. That's why calm begins physically, not mentally. The man who can command his body under pressure can command anything. The one who can't loses his composure before he even realizes it. Think about it. Before anger shows on your face, it starts in your chest. A tightening, a pulse. Before fear takes over, It begins in your breath, short, shallow, irregular. Before panic fills your thoughts, your hands shake, your muscles tense, your body screams for release. The body doesn't lie, it reacts faster than thought, and that means if you want to master your emotions, you must start with your body. Most people try to control emotion from the top down, but they tell themselves, don't get angry, don't get nervous, don't panic. But that never works, because the mind is already following the body's panic signals. The command has to go in reverse. You must use your body to send calm upward through breathing, posture, stillness, and awareness. You don't think yourself calm, you breathe yourself calm, you stand yourself calm, you move yourself calm. The body is you, your first feedback loop. When your body is tense, your mind becomes chaotic. When your body is still, your mind becomes clear. This is why elite soldiers train not only their minds, but their physiology. They master heart rate, breathing rhythm, muscle tone, and eye control. In combat, when bullets fly, their breathing slows, not speeds up. Their vision widens, not narrows. Their movements become precise, not frantic. That's not genetics, that's training. That's mastery of the body as the gateway to calm. Let's talk about breathing, the foundation of composure. When you lose control of your breath, your nervous system believes you're in danger. It triggers survival mode. Adrenaline floods, logic shuts down, emotion takes over. But when you slow your breath, deep, controlled, deliberate, you send the opposite signal. You tell your body, we are safe, we are stable. And the mind follows that command. Slow breathing is the manual override for chaos. Use this simple exercise. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. The box breath. It's used by Navy SEALs, surgeons, and negotiators because it resets the body's panic response instantly. Try it during stress. Try it when your heart races. Try it when you feel cornered. You'll notice something. The moment your breath slows, your perspective widens. You begin to think again. That's the power of physical command. Next is posture. Your body language doesn't just communicate to others, it communicates to your own brain. Slouched shoulders, tense neck, hunched stance. These tell your mind you're powerless, defensive, or afraid. But when you stand tall, plant your feet, and keep your head steady, your brain interprets it as confidence. It changes your biochemistry. Your cortisol drops, your testosterone rises, you feel more in control because your body is signaling control. The posture of calm creates the emotion of calm. Then there's movement. The disciplined man moves with intention, no frantic gestures, no nervous pacing, no fidgeting or twitching. Every movement is deliberate. Every motion is controlled. Watch anyone truly composed. They appear slow, fluid, unhurried. That's not personality, it's discipline. It's body control under pressure. And it commands attention without a single word. This isn't about vanity, it's about wiring. Your nervous system learns through repetition. If your body practices stillness daily, it defaults to stillness under pressure. If it practices agitation daily, it defaults to chaos. That's why training calm physically matters. You're teaching your body how to behave when the storm hits. You're conditioning muscle memory for composure. Start small. Practice sitting in stillness for 5 minutes. No phone, no distraction, no movement. Just breathe and observe your body. Notice where tension hides, your jaw, shoulders, stomach, then release it. The more you practice this, the faster you'll recognize tension in real time. The moment you feel your shoulders tighten in conflict, relax them. The moment your breathing shortens in stress, lengthen it. These micro-adjustments prevent emotional hijacking before it begins. Understand this. Composure is physical discipline disguised as emotional intelligence. You can't fake it. You can't talk your way into calm. You must train it through consistency. Every time you control your body, you strengthen your ability to control your emotions. Every time you control your emotions, you strengthen your control of decisions. That's the chain of command. Body to mind, mind to behavior, behavior to outcome. And here's the truth. You can't think clearly if your physiology is screaming panic. You can't lead anyone if your body is betraying anxiety. You can't project confidence if your breath is shallow and your hands are trembling. True leadership, true power, true calm, all begin with physical command. You've probably heard the phrase, fake it till you make it. That's wrong. You're not faking it, you're training it. When you hold still under pressure, even before you feel calm, your body teaches your brain to follow. Calm posture precedes calm feeling. Controlled breathing precedes controlled thought. Over time, calm becomes your default, not your act. That's how discipline rewires you. Repetition until reaction becomes reflection. You don't need perfection, you need awareness. Pay attention to your physical cues, a clenched jaw, tapping fingers, shallow breaths. Those are your early warning systems. They're telling you your mind is about to lose control. Don't ignore them, use them. Each cue is an opportunity to return to command. Breathe. Relax, slow down, return to stillness. The man who notices his body can prevent his emotions from hijacking his reason. And here's the hidden benefit. Mastering your body under pressure earns you silent respect. People sense it. They may not articulate it, but they feel it. When you stay still in confrontation, others feel your presence. When you remain relaxed in chaos, others lean toward your calm. Authority begins with physiology. Confidence isn't loud, it's composed. So from now on, treat your body like your first line of defense. Every breath, every movement, every posture is communication to your mind and to the world. You're saying either, I am in control or I am controlled. Choose wisely. Remember this, the body obeys training, not intention. You can't hope your way into calm, you must condition it. When the heat rises, you don't have time to think, you only have time to respond. Your body will act out whatever you've rehearsed, so rehearse stillness, rehearse control, rehearse calm. You've learned to control the mind through the body, to regulate your physiology so your emotions never dictate your actions. You've learned that composure is not an idea, but a practiced posture. But now you must face the next test of discipline, not action, but absence. Because sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. You've mastered physical command, now it's time to weaponize silence. The art of saying nothing while communicating everything. Silence is not weakness, it's not surrender, it's not avoidance. Silence is strength in its purest form. It's the language of control, the weapon of the calm, the presence of the disciplined. Most people speak to relieve tension. They talk because silence makes them uncomfortable. But the man who can remain silent under pressure has mastered the most difficult form of composure: restraint. In a world addicted to noise, silence is rebellion. It's rebellion against the need to react, to explain, to prove, to defend. Most people can't handle silence because it forces them to face themselves. They fill every quiet moment with words, opinions, excuses. But the disciplined man understands that power doesn't always speak. Power observes. Power measures. Power waits. When you speak emotionally, you give away information. You reveal your insecurity, your frustration, your impatience. You let people read your weakness. But when you stay silent, you remain unreadable. You make others guess. And that guessing, that uncertainty, gives you leverage. Silence makes people reveal themselves. It exposes the impatient, the insecure, and the undisciplined. All you have to do is wait. Think of the greatest negotiators, interrogators, and leaders. They use silence like a scalpel. They don't rush to fill the air. They let others talk. They let others reveal too much. They let emotion burn itself out. The loudest voice in the room is rarely the most powerful. It's usually the most desperate. The one who can stay quiet the longest controls the conversation without saying a word. Silence also disarms conflict. When someone yells, they expect resistance. When they get stillness instead, their power collapses. Try it. The next time someone loses their composure, say nothing. Hold your gaze. Let their energy fall flat against your calm. You'll watch their rage deflate, their confidence fade. They'll feel the weight of their own words echoing back at them. That's psychological dominance, not through aggression, through absence. But silence isn't just external, it's internal. It's not only about what you don't say, it's about what you don't think. The disciplined mind creates silence within itself. It doesn't let noise, mental chatter, fear, self-doubt dominate its attention. Most people are never silent internally. Their minds are loud even when their mouths are closed. Detachment dies when the mind can't shut up. But the man who can silence his thoughts on command becomes untouchable. To cultivate this, you must practice intentional silence. Every day, find 5 minutes where you say nothing, do nothing, and simply listen. Not to the world, but to your mind. You'll hear the chaos at first, the racing thoughts, the fears, the replayed arguments. Don't fight them. Observe them until they lose their power. This practice builds mental stillness. Over time, silence becomes comfort instead of discomfort. That's when calm becomes real. The weak man fills silence with justification. The disciplined man lets silence justify him. You don't need to prove who you are. You don't need to explain your motives to those committed to misunderstanding you. Let your actions speak. Let your consistency speak. Let silence protect your energy. The loud chase validation, the calm attract it. Understand this. Silence is not passive. It's active control. It's a deliberate choice to prioritize strategy over emotion. In arguments, silence gives you the advantage. In business, it creates mystery. In personal discipline, it builds power. Silence is the pause between impulse and wisdom. It's the space where perspective grows. It's the arena where emotion burns out and clarity enters. There's a reason silence makes people uneasy. It forces truth to surface. It reveals who needs control. In silence, the insecure scramble to fill the air. They can't stand the exposure of stillness. But you use silence to diagnose the world. You learn more from what's unsaid than what's said. You see what others miss because they're too busy making noise. When you master silence, you control pacing. You decide when tension breaks. You decide when dialogue ends. You decide when energy shifts. The man who owns silence owns rhythm, and rhythm is power. Watch a master speaker. He pauses more than he talks. Watch a true leader. He listens more than he commands. Watch a strategist. He thinks more than he reacts. They all understand one truth. Silence creates gravity. Practice silence in confrontation. When someone tries to provoke you, don't match their tone. Don't explain. Don't defend. Just breathe, listen, and watch. Let your stillness unsettle them. When you withhold reaction, you create imbalance. Their control evaporates. Silence is not emptiness. It's pressure. It forces others to fill it, often with mistakes. Let them. The more they speak, the more they expose. The more you listen, the more you learn. But silence also refines you. It teaches patience. It builds internal strength. It allows emotion to fade before you act. That's why silence is discipline. It's the conscious rejection of reaction. You don't stay quiet because you have nothing to say. You stay quiet because you don't waste words on the unworthy. You don't trade noise for peace. You don't spend energy defending truth that time will defend for you. This kind of silence takes ego death. The ego wants the last word. It wants to prove rightness, to win arguments, to be seen. But the ego is loud, and loudness is weakness. Strength is quiet because it's secure. When you no longer need to prove, you've already won. When you can sit in silence while others fight for attention, you've transcended reaction. You'll notice something powerful when you begin living this way. People will speak differently around you. They'll become more careful with their words, more aware of their tone. They'll sense your control. That's respect, earned without force, without dominance, without threat. It's the respect that silence commands. Silence also protects your energy. Words are currency, and every unnecessary word is emotional debt. You spend energy explaining, arguing, convincing, and for what? The world doesn't need more noise. It needs presence. The disciplined man doesn't talk about control. He embodies it. His silence is a message louder than speech. Remember this rule. Never waste words where silence speaks louder, because silence doesn't just end arguments. It ends illusions. It shows people who they are. It shows you what really matters. It keeps you above the emotional flood where others drown. Silence is strength because it requires restraint. It requires confidence. It requires patience. Anyone can shout. Anyone can react. Only the composed can stay quiet in the storm. The louder the world becomes, the more powerful your silence will be. You've now learned to weaponize silence, to let restraint speak for you, to let stillness unsettle the chaotic, to let calm create dominance. But silence alone isn't enough. The next evolution of composure isn't just holding still, it's building something unshakable inside you. a structure of mental strength that pressure cannot crack and silence cannot disturb. It's time to build that inner fortress. You've learned the art of saying nothing. Now it's time to learn the discipline of being everything. Stable, centered, and unbreakable. The mind is your fortress. It's the structure that protects your peace, defends your discipline, and preserves your clarity in the middle of chaos. But most people build their minds out of glass. One insult, one rejection, one unexpected failure, and they shatter. Their emotions leak out. Their composure collapses. They rebuild for a moment, then break again. You cannot live like that. If you want true calm under pressure, you must build your mind like stone. Solid, heavy, immovable. You must construct a fortress no emotion can penetrate. Your mental fortress isn't built overnight. It's built brick by brick. Small habits of control repeated until they harden into character. Every time you wake up early when you don't want to, that's a brick. Every time you stay calm in confrontation, that's a brick. Every time you follow through on your word, even when it's inconvenient, that's another brick. Discipline is the architecture of strength. Consistency is the cement that holds it together. You have to decide right now. Are you building or are you reacting? Because every reaction chips away at the walls of your fortress. Every emotional outburst, every overreaction, every self-pitying thought weakens the structure. That's what happens when you don't protect your inner state. You become an open house for chaos. Anyone can walk in, rearrange your peace, and leave you in disorder. The disciplined man guards his mind like a fortress because he knows everything depends on it. To build it, you must first establish your foundation. Daily rituals. Rituals are the reinforcements of mental structure. They create predictability in an unpredictable world. You wake up at the same time, you train your body, you manage your breathing, you plan your day, you review your goals. These routines aren't about productivity. They're about control. They remind your mind who's in charge. When you keep your rituals consistent, the world can change without shaking your foundation. Look at the greatest warriors, monks, athletes, or strategists. They all live by structure. Their discipline isn't random, it's ritualized. The mental fortress is built on repetition. It's built on doing the small things, especially when no one's watching. Because those small things become your default behavior under pressure. If you train order in peace, you'll default to order in chaos. That's how the fortress holds. You must also learn to guard the gates, your attention. Every fortress has an entry point, and for your mind, that's your focus. What you consume builds or breaks your structure. You can't build a calm mind if you constantly feed it with noise, gossip, negativity, and comparison. Every time you scroll aimlessly, you weaken the wall. Every time you absorb drama, you invite invasion. Attention is your most valuable resource. Guard it like a king protects his throne. The mental fortress thrives on solitude. Solitude is not loneliness, it's maintenance. It's where you inspect the walls for cracks. You step away from the noise, from the demands, from the constant stimulation, and you listen to your mind. You ask, where am I leaking energy? What am I allowing in that doesn't belong here? The disciplined man uses solitude to reinforce himself. The weak man avoids it because silence exposes his instability. You also have to master internal language. Your self-talk is the voice inside the fortress. It can either strengthen the walls or corrode them. When your mind speaks weakness, the structure begins to rot. Phrases like, I can't handle this always happens to me, or I'm not enough, are emotional termites. They eat away at your foundation. Replace them with words of control. I can endure this. I decide how this ends. I will stay calm no matter what. Every time you speak strength, you reinforce the walls. But here's what most people never understand. A mental fortress isn't built to hide in, it's built to operate from. It's not a retreat, it's a command center. You don't build calm to escape life. You build calm to dominate it. You train your emotions not to numb them, but to direct them. You build discipline not to avoid pressure, but to master it. The fortress exists not to keep the world out, but to keep your power in. You have to test your fortress regularly. Stress is your test. Pressure is your audit. You don't know how strong your walls are until the storm hits. That's why pressure is not your enemy. It's your inspector. It shows you where the cracks are. If you break, don't despair. Rebuild. Use each failure as feedback. Strengthen the weak spots. Add new layers of control. That's how the fortress becomes unshakable. Inside the fortress, calm is the rule. Emotion is the guest. Allowed to visit, never allowed to stay. You will still feel anger, fear, disappointment, but inside the fortress, hey, move through you without taking residence. You observe them, you learn from them, you release them. That's what separates you from the reactive. You experience emotion without obedience to it. You must understand, the fortress is not built on arrogance. It's built on stability. Arrogance seeks control over others. Discipline seeks control over self. When your mind becomes a fortress, you no longer need to dominate anyone. You no longer seek validation. You simply exist in command of yourself. That's real freedom, when the world can change and you stay the same. Every decision you make should reinforce your structure. What you eat, how you train, who you spend time with, what you read, it all matters. Every choice is a brick. Every habit is a reinforcement. You don't build mental toughness through intensity, you build it through repetition. The quiet, boring, daily work, that's what strengthens the walls. Discipline is not glamorous, but it's undefeated. The stronger your fortress becomes, the less you'll need to prove it. You'll move differently. You'll speak less. You'll stop defending yourself because truth doesn't need defense. You'll stop chasing peace because you'll already have it. You'll stop explaining your standards because your composure will explain them for you. People will feel your presence before you say a word. That's the aura of inner fortification. And when you reach that point, the world loses its grip on you. Insults don't reach you. Praise doesn't distract you. Pressure doesn't shake you. The world moves, but you remain still. That's not numbness. That's mastery. You've built a fortress strong enough to withstand anything, yet open enough to operate within the world with calm precision. Remember this truth. Life will always test your walls. People will push. Circumstances will challenge. Emotions will tempt. But every test is a chance to reinforce your structure. Every time you stay calm when others lose themselves, you add another layer of stone. Over time, nothing external can touch your internal. That's when discipline becomes identity. That's when calm becomes nature. You've now built your fortress, the inner stronghold where emotion can't overthrow reason, where pressure can't break peace, where chaos can't cross the gate. But a fortress isn't built to isolate, it's built to win wars. The next step is learning how to project that strength outward, to stay calm not just within, but to dominate every external battle with composure and command. You've built your inner walls. Now, it's time to take that strength into the world and win. The calm man doesn't win because he's lucky. He wins because he's deliberate. He wins because he refuses to lose control when everyone else does. In every arena, business, relationships, conflict, leadership, calm is the invisible advantage. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't scream. It simply stands there, steady, patient, unshaken, while the world burns itself out. The calm man doesn't fight harder. He fights smarter. He conserves energy while others waste it. He thinks while others panic. He observes while others react. And when the chaos clears, he's the only one still standing, composed, focused, and ready to win. Every war, internal or external, is won through discipline of response. You don't need to be the loudest. You don't need to be the fastest. You need to be the most controlled, because control decides clarity, and clarity decides victory. That's the rule. The man who can stay calm in fire sees what no one else can. He notices openings. He predicts moves. He chooses timing. The impatient rush into mistakes. The calm man watches and moves once with precision. Look at history. The greatest warriors weren't those who swung the hardest. They were those who waited the longest before striking. The samurai stood still, sword unsheathed, eyes fixed, breathing measured. He didn't attack first. He attacked right. The boxer who controls his breathing, who reads his opponent's rhythm, who stays still under fire, he's the one who wins the late rounds. The soldier who can stay calm under gunfire isn't just brave, he's useful. Calm doesn't just survive pressure, it weaponizes it. That's what calm really is. Controlled power. It's energy that doesn't leak, emotion that doesn't overflow, thought that doesn't scatter. The calm man doesn't suppress emotion, he channels it. He turns fear into focus, he turns anger into calculation, he turns pain into endurance. While others are burning energy to feel powerful, he's storing energy to stay powerful. That's why his presence changes rooms. He's not loud, he's not emotional, but people feel him because he radiates control. You have to understand, most wars aren't fought outside, they're fought inside, between reaction and reason, between fear and focus, between impulse and intention. The calm man wins because he commands that inner war first. He disciplines his mind before he moves his hands. He calms his heart before he opens his mouth. He wins the unseen battles before the visible ones even begin. That's why he's always a step ahead. Calm isn't passive. It's preparation. It's mental readiness for every possible scenario. It's the ability to stand inside chaos and not collapse. That's why the calm man is dangerous, not because he attacks, but because nothing rattles him. You can't provoke him, you can't guilt him, you can't manipulate him, you can't pressure him into mistakes. You can shout in his face and he'll just watch you, unmoved, assessing, deciding. His stillness isn't weakness, it's warning, because when he moves it will be final. The calm man doesn't waste time reacting to small wars. He doesn't fight every insult, every opinion, every provocation. He fights only when it matters. And when he does, he fights to win. His discipline filters what deserves energy and what deserves silence. That's why he's never drained. The reactive man is always exhausted because he's at war with everything. The calm man is always charged because he's only at war with what matters. You must train yourself to think like this. Not every battle is mine. Not every noise deserves my focus. Not every challenge deserves my reaction. This is how you conserve strength. This is how you win the long game. The calm man doesn't need to dominate today. He's playing for forever. That's the difference between reaction and strategy. When chaos erupts, watch how people behave. The weak panic. The proud overreact. The loud try to take control through volume. But the calm, they pause. They let others move first. They let noise expose weakness. They let emotion reveal mistakes. Then they step forward and take control, quietly, efficiently, completely. Calm always wins, because chaos always burns itself out. Calm is intelligence in motion. It's emotional awareness translated into power. It's not pretending to be unbothered. It's genuinely being unbothered because you've trained for the storm. You've built your mental fortress, you've trained your body, you've mastered silence, you've slowed your thinking. Now the world can't touch you. You don't chase control, you are control. And when others see that, when they realize they can't move you, they change how they treat you. Because calm demands respect. It's rare, it's unsettling, it makes people question themselves. That's why the calm man doesn't need to prove power. His presence is proof. This doesn't mean life becomes easy. It means you stop needing it to be. You will still face chaos. You will still feel fear. You will still be tested. But your reaction will be different now. You won't rush. You won't panic. You won't collapse. You'll breathe, assess, and move forward. Every test will make you stronger. Every storm will add to your composure. Every war will sharpen your command. The calm man wins every war not because he avoids conflict, but because he transforms it. He uses adversity as information. He uses opposition as fuel. He uses discomfort as discipline. Every loss becomes training. Every failure becomes feedback. Every challenge becomes construction material for a stronger mind. That's why he never truly loses. He either wins or he learns. Calm is the final stage of power. It's the point where reaction no longer exists, where self-control becomes instinct, where peace becomes your natural state. And it's available to you, right now. But it won't come from motivation, it comes from mastery. You have to train it every day in small moments until composure becomes your identity. When the world attacks, stay calm. When fear whispers, stay calm. When ego demands to be seen, stay calm, because calm is your weapon, calm is your armor, calm is your victory. The disciplined man knows power isn't in how loud you are, how fast you move, or how hard you fight. Power is in how calm you stay when everything falls apart. The one who controls himself controls the outcome. The one who keeps composure commands chaos. So build your fortress. Guard your breath. Hold your silence. Slow your mind. Move your body with control. Watch without reacting. Speak only with purpose. And remember this truth until it becomes your nature. The calm man wins every war. Because while others react, you will respond. While others crumble, you will stand. While others break under pressure, you will become it. Unshakable, deliberate, composed. That's not theory. That's discipline. That's mastery. That's power. And now that you've reached this point, now that you've seen what true calm looks like, feels like, lives like, the choice is yours. You can return to noise, or you can walk forward into control. You can chase validation, or you can build your peace. You can fight everything, or you can command everything through silence and precision. The calm man wins every war, not because the world favors him, but because he has stopped fighting the wrong battles. You've reached the end of this audiobook, but the real beginning is now. Your training starts every day, in every reaction, in every challenge. Don't wait to be calm. Don't wish for control. Decide to embody it, because calm isn't found. It's built. Stay silent. Stay steady. Stay dangerous. You've learned the discipline of staying calm under pressure. Now go prove it.